What's up, ladybots and gentle droids? I am Dylan, the Technogiz guy, and today we're making my home gym a little bit smarter. So today's video is going to be a little different. Today, instead of one product focus, we're kind of going to do a couple different things. So I recently finished building a home gym, and while I've enjoyed working out in it, there's a couple problems. I have to turn the lights on with my phone every time I walk in, or an assistant command with my voice, because I did not put a light switch in the room. I put one of those no neutral relays that I did a video on a while back. You can see that video up here. I put one of those in for the lights and it works well, but I forgot to actually run the wire to put a switch in, so there's no manual switch in the room. I plan to fix that eventually, but I want to get presence sensing in there, so that way when I walk in, the lights just turn on. When I walk out, the lights turn off. There is another aspect of the gym that I would like to make smart. I bought a mini split to put in the gym to keep it climate controlled. That way in the summer, I don't have to work out in the blazing heat, and in the winter, I don't have to work out in the freezing cold. The problem is the mini split I bought is pretty cheap, and I tried to open it up and see if I could hack it with an ESP32 module like some people do. It is not compatible with that, so I had to go another route. Fortunately for me, the Nabu Casa team just made infrared more of a priority within Home Assistant. While it's still early days, they did add a lot of documentation and some support, and in response, a couple of companies started offering products to help with it. So to fix the presence sensing, we're gonna use one of these everything presence sensors. I've used these before. I've done videos on both the everything presence 1 and the everything presence lights. They're great sensors. They actually just came out with another one that I wanna check out, but I kinda don't have the money right now or a need. Nothing really new with these. This guy's already configured to go into the gym, so we're just gonna go stick it in there, put in the ceiling. I hope that the spot that I have picked out is a good spot for it, but we'll check that. The other product that we're gonna need for this is the Zhaosmart IR Mate from Seed Studio. I love Seed Studio as a company because they just keep making really cool stuff. They make all kinds of mesh-tastic stuff, mesh core stuff. Now they're making IR stuff. They're just awesome in the IoT world. And it's all ESP based, which is nice because we can easily write firmware for this, which is helpful. Because the stock firmware that comes on this, it's not really helpful for what we're trying to do. I need this to control the mini split. How are we gonna accomplish that? Well, I already did it. I actually already have it working, but I'm gonna show you guys how to set this up. What I did was I used my flipper, and I will get some B-roll of kind of what the process looks like, but I basically took a capture with the flipper's IR receiver of every single command on the remote. Because unlike a TV remote where it just sends a generic signal when you hit the button and the TV just interprets it from wherever its state is, air conditioners, at least mine, works a little differently. It seems to be a standard because ChatGPT didn't have too much problem figuring it out once we kind of got through it. And by the way, I want to preface this. The application that I have built and put on my GitHub is very heavily vibe coded. I am going through the code to check it, but all of the captures are my data, and a lot of the code is written by ChatGPT. So I am going through the code slowly as I have the time to audit it and debug it and figure out what it's all doing, but it does work. And I was working very closely with the AI to make this happen. So basically the way that my mini split's remote works, when you send the temperature, it sends a command sequence. So it not only sends the temperature, the exact temperature that you're setting, which is how the remote's little screen stays in sync, because ideally it would be sending the command to the mini split, and the mini split receives it, acknowledges it, and does it. Because it's IR, there is no two-way communication. So I don't actually have any way of knowing what state the mini split is in. That's something I'm willing to give up on this, only because I have a temperature sensor in the gym already, and once I put this everything present sensor in there, I will have a second temperature sensor. So I do have the ability to monitor what the actual temperature is versus what the thermostat is set to. Basically what my Home Assistant add-on does, and you will need HACS to install this, the Home Assistant Community Store. Basically all it does is it takes my captured IR from my mini split remote and builds a virtual thermostat helper inside of Home Assistant and targets one of these devices. Now, you also have to flash a ESPHome firmware to this device that I wrote to make it all work. That is also in the GitHub. So everything is open source for the IR side of this. I will link it down below. It's open source. Do whatever you want. If you guys want to maybe take it and use it to make your own mini split controller or other IR controller for Home Assistant, we need more people in the community to do it. So take it, do whatever you want. I hope it helps you. In my case, it is designed solely to work with the Mountman mini split that I have in the gym. These Seed Studio devices already come with ESPHome ready to go. They just come with a different ESP firmware from Seed Studio that basically allows you to capture and retransmit different IR commands. That's not helpful because it only lets you store 10 in the device. 10 is not enough for my mini split because every temperature has to be not only its temperature, but is it cool or hot? And then there's fan modes, and then there's the little sweepy fan thingy. All kinds of different functions, so the stock firmware wasn't going to work. So easily enough, I wrote some ESPHome firmware, which is in the GitHub. You flash it to this, you install the Home Assistant integration, and we set it up. I will walk you guys through that. I just wanted to kind of preface how it's going to work. So the easy part of this is the presence sensing. We're just going to go install it, and all I got to do is build an automation to turn the lights on, and it's the same as all my other rooms. The IR stuff, I already know it works, but I want to show you guys because IR is kind of legacy, and people don't really think about it as much. Some people do, but a lot of new home people don't think about it, and they think that they can only get smart control if they replace all their stuff with expensive equipment. And that's not the case. Especially with Home Assistant and Nabu Casa pushing more IR and RF support, which I want to mess with some RF stuff eventually too. And companies like Seed Studio coming out with cheap, you can get this IR module for about 10 bucks on their website. I bought 4 of them just in case. So you can get these cheap, and basically, with a little bit of work, you can make anything work with Home Assistant. I did say that I decoded this with my flipper, and I'll show you guys how that process looks. You do not need a flipper to do this. Flippers, while they used to be a good, cheap tool for this kind of stuff, they've gotten kind of expensive and hard to get at times. So if you don't have a flipper, you don't need a flipper. What you can do, you can write a Python script or see if someone's already written one and turn this into a basically receiver. So you can already just get this, point your remote at it, make a receiver, and just log all of the different commands that way. And then you'll have to dump that file and do what you need. If you have a flipper, it makes it really easy because you can dump the file that the flipper makes right into the tool that I made, and that will help you get the raw commands that you need out, as well as if you're using ChatGPT or Claude, if you're vibe coding a little bit, the tool that I made to decode the flipper files will help the AI also decode those files because it's set up in a way to help the AI understand what you're trying to do. I don't fully trust AI, but I do try to use it when it is beneficial. And I try to be in control and minimize the amount that it can hallucinate and screw up. Okay, so I grabbed the remote from the air conditioner, and I want to show you what the process looks like to capture this. If you guys are buying the Mountman mini split, and trying to make it smart, you don't have to do the capture. As long as hopefully Mountman uses the same protocol for all their remotes, I would imagine they do. My script works, so you don't have to change anything for it to work as long as you're using the same brand of mini split I am. But on my flipper, I'm gonna go to the infrared section. I'm gonna go to Learn New Remote, and I'm just gonna point the other remote at it, hit the button. So, okay. So I ended up just coming to re-record this bit because I couldn't get a good clip. So we're just going to do Learn New Remote here. So just like that, we have the first capture sample. And you just got to go through and do that for every button on the remote. Give it a name so you can identify it later. and save it. So I had to do that for every button on the remote, which, by the way, there's the mode button, which cycles between cool, fan only, and heat. There's the turbo button. There's the mute button, the eco button, the power button. You have a timer button, which I actually didn't map the timer button because I don't care. I can do that in Home Assistant and just send the command manually. There's a fan button, the swing button, which makes the little arm go up and down, temperature up and downs, the sleep, anti-mildew, display. Yeah, so I mapped all of those. They're into Home Assistant. Let's flash this with my custom ESPHome that I built, and then we'll install it on Home Assistant as well. Okay, so this is the GitHub page for this repo. So not only is all the stuff that you need for Home Assistant in here, but the ESPHome files are in here, as well as the tools and the test files and the different IR files from my flipper, from me doing my captures and my test. The README is pretty extensive here. There's a bunch of information about the protocol, the capture notes, and all that in the repo notes as well. Some useful commands on how to use the tools. The signal format for this particular mini-split series, since this repo is dedicated to the mini-split. Just some stuff about the different decoded packets that I have. Okay guys, so we're in my Home Assistant here. I'm gonna go over to HACS and we're gonna do custom repositories. And you can see here, I already have it, but if you didn't already have it, what you would do is come into here, you'd copy the GitHub link, and I'll actually delete this out of here just so we can re-add it for you guys. So we're gonna name this, so we're gonna paste our repository link in there. The type is gonna be integration. We're gonna add, and it added down here in the bottom. You can see I have some other ones that I'm working on that I might show at a later date. Okay, so once you have it in there, we're gonna go to the Mountman Mini Split IR that you should now have in your HACS repo. We're gonna click download, I'm gonna download that. Once that is done downloading, it's gonna tell us that right here, we need to do a restart. So I'm gonna do a restart of Home Assistant. So my Home Assistant is starting up. Once it starts up, we're gonna go over to the ESP device builder. If you don't have that installed, you're gonna wanna have that installed. So I'm not gonna show you guys how to install the Home Assistant community store as well as the ESP builder. There's plenty of videos online of how to do that, and those videos will probably do a lot better job explaining how the process works than I will. So if you don't already have it, go install those. Okay, so once you are in the ESP device builder, you are going to go over to the GitHub. Here, I'll show you. You're gonna come over to the GitHub. You're gonna grab this file, this YAML file here. You may need to modify this a little bit for your needs, but I already have it set up here. So this is the file. Mainly the difference I'm adding is I'm adding my Wi-Fi in, and this one's named YouTube Demo because I already have one in the gym. So we're gonna open this guy up. And in the box, you don't get anything other than the IR receiver and transmitter. And these little pucks are transmitter and receiver. The nice part is since they're ESP32 based, you can also use these for Bluetooth proxy and other various ESP things within Home Assistant. So let me grab a USB-C cable so I can flash this, and I'll show you guys the process. So over here, we're gonna say install. I'm gonna plug my USB cable into my MacBook. I'm gonna plug the other end into this little puck. Are you kidding me right now? My cable that I grabbed is too big. 1 second. Round 2. We're gonna plug that in, and we're gonna plug this into the MacBook. It's gonna vibrate. So we're gonna click install, and then we're going to click this device here because I know that it's this one, and then it's just going to compile and flash that to the firmware. You do need an HTTPS connection to use this flasher. If you don't have Home Assistant behind an HTTPS connection, either via reverse proxy or the Nabu Casa cloud link, then you can actually download a local program. I'm not covering that in this because I have my Home Assistant behind HTTPS, and just like that, this is done and working. So this is flashed, we're good. And we can see that this is online. So now we're gonna go over here, gonna go to our devices and services. We're gonna add the integration. We're gonna look up MountMan Mini Split. Now, so this is gonna come up with a helper and it's gonna let you set up some different things here. So I'm gonna name this Gym Mini Split. I'm actually gonna change the name. Instead of using my YouTube demo one, I'm gonna use the one that's already in the gym. It's got the same exact ESP file, it's just named differently. I wanted to show you guys how to flash this file. Leave this on normal. I'm gonna set the default fan mode to auto. 61 for the minimum and 88 for the max, that's fine. And submit. Once that happens, it will come up and give you this option here. I'll put this in the gym. And then just like that, we have the virtual thermostat. So it says it's off right now and it's not off. We are gonna set that to like, cool. Set that to 69, cool. Okay, so now that we have installed the Home Assistant integration that I built for the Mini Split, we have flashed one of the IR modules from Seed Studio to be able to actually talk to the Mini Split. And we have our presence sensor. So let's go to the gym and get it installed. Okay, so we're in the gym, except it's a little dark in here. Let me fix that. Okay, so now that we have some light, well, mostly, I am kind of washed out. So now that we have some light, and I moved the camera because it did not like staring directly into my overhead lights, so now you don't get to look at my rack.
That's what she said.
That's okay, because there's some things sitting on the rack that I'm doing videos on that I don't want to spoil yet. I can talk about them, but I don't want to yet. So stay tuned, subscribe to see more. But yeah, right now I don't have any other way to turn the lights on and off in this room, like I mentioned, without pulling my phone out, going into Home Assistant and tapping the button. I'm gonna put a presence sensor in here. I'm gonna put it up there. So this room, I'm gonna get over here. So yeah, this room is peaked here. And I'm not giving you guys a full tour of the gym because I do plan on doing that at some point. But I think putting the presence sensor right there would be the perfect place, because then the everything presence sensor, since it has a 180-degree field of view, theoretically should be able to cover the entire room, in theory. So let's pull the camera back a little bit. Let's lock that over down. I got my trusty ladder, which this is a little giant. I love this guy. It's a little heavy, but it works really good, and it goes up high, and it goes down low, and it's great. Good ladder. So there already was some holes up here because there used to be one singular ceiling fan light in here before I renovated it and put the other lights in. So I'm gonna see if I can get this screw to land right in the hole. The screw that I am using is a deck screw. It's the same screw I use to refinish a lot of this room. The reason I'm using it is because I have it. I got that in the hole. It's not going anywhere. So let me grab the sensor real quick. The cable that comes with these everything presence sensors, here it is. It's decently long, but it's not quite long enough to go to the outlet that I need it to. So I've got like I think this is like a 15 or 20 foot extension cord. It's just USB A to A, A to male, or A male to A female. But that works great for this because it has a male, so we're gonna use this, hopefully, I think. We're gonna run the cable, we'll go this way with it. The ceiling doesn't go all the way to the peak of the roof, so I'm gonna try to tuck the cable into the ceiling, and then anywhere I can't do that, I'll come back and I'll use one of those little sticky ties that have a zip tie on it. Okay. So the extension is plugged in. Oh yeah, this will reach. This will reach for sure. There's been a development. So I was originally gonna go to that outlet over there, right there, because the cable ended up being long enough, we're actually going to run over there to that outlet where the TV and the speakers are plugged in, just because that's a better location to plug stuff in. There's already a power strip over there that you can't see because it's behind the ladder. There it is. See, up there. So that's already a better location. And yeah, so I'm just gonna run this wire kind of in the channel like I did with the speaker wire. And then once it gets over here, I'll just run it up and see what it does. There we go. Okay. So the wire is pretty much managed as good as I'm gonna do it. You can see I ran it along the channel over there, and then it just kind of swoops down in the corner, and I'll zip tie it up with the rest, because you can see there's a couple wires over there already that I have to zip tie up. So now that we have presence sensing in here, let's jump over to my phone quick and let's see what it looks like. So since it sees me, let's just we'll go walk into this corner here. Yeah, no problem. Oh. It lost me there. To be fair, okay, so it loses me like right here at the very edge of the wall. But now that I'm looking at the Everything Presence 1, I can actually see that it's angled slightly that way. So I think if I got up there again on the ladder, I should be able to angle it good. But it's seeing me now, so I'm over here, I'm over here. Let me come over here and walk behind the camera. Yeah, sees me. I'm guessing it will see me just fine over here on this corner. And it's not having any problem with the squat rack or anything. I think this is perfect. Oh, it sees a second person. There's not a second person with me that I know of. One of the things with these presence sensors is large sources of metal, glass, and reflective TV screens like monitors and whatnot can interfere with them and give them false positives. Large sources of metal, like a big TV, a squat rack that's completely made of 3x3 steel, and metal accessories to go with it. The doors are covered with curtains, so that's not as much of a problem, but the windows have no blinds or curtains because I haven't found any yet to put on them. It's still a work in progress. So I was kind of worried that there was going to be some false positives, and we did see one false positive there. I'm not sure if that was it just seeing me twice for a second and then it dropped off, or if it was a small little ghost, but walking around in the small space here, I don't see any major issues with it, so I think it'll work. I'll have to set up an automation to trigger the lights on and all that. I'm also probably going to link it to the air conditioner behind me, so that way it will set a desired temperature when someone's in here. Maybe ramp the fan up from auto to high, as well as when they leave after X amount of minutes, ramp that back up to a more energy efficient temperature that I'm not paying to cool a room that nobody's in. So speaking of the air conditioner, and now that the presence sensor is done, what about the IR thing? I have my IR thing up on the wall, so it's plugged in over here with everything else. It's just dangling there by that outlet, and then we come over to the mini split. So we're back, and I've done yet another outfit change because I've already filmed all this, and I just flashed my phone with Graphene OS, and I forgot to grab the screen recordings. So I'm refilming this so you guys can see that it works. It works. I promise it works, but if I zoom in over here on the mini split, so you guys can see the mini split is set to 77, which is also what my Home Assistant mini split here says. If I come out of here, so if I come down and I set this to like 66, it will go to 66. I can set it to 61, set it to 85. I know this says 86. I have a capture problem because I only captured so much data and I guessed on the rest. And I'm never gonna have the cool set to 86 because at that point I'm just gonna turn it off and put it in fan only mode or something. But yeah, 78, go to 80, 80, yeah, okay, interesting. Huh, that has the same bug that I already fixed for the heat. Interesting, okay. That's something I'll fix before you guys probably see this video. But yeah, so I mean, it works. I can control the fan speed. Go to high. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it did just pick up the fan speed. I set that back up, and that's it. We got the presence sensor installed. It works great. I did end up angling it off camera after that last day that you guys saw. It's been weeks since I filmed that original portion of this video. And the gym's actually changed a bit. You can see there's a machine behind me now that wasn't there before for cardio. But yeah, so the presence sensor's in, it works great. When I walk in, the lights just turn right on. When I leave for 5 minutes, they turn off. It's great. I also have it automated to where when I walk in, the climate gets turned down to like 65 because it's not gonna actually keep it at 65 for the hour that I'm in here, 2 hours or whatever. It's just get the cool in there and, you know, get it going off. Also, because I wake up in the morning and work out here, I have set up an automation that on the days that I work out, an hour before my alarm, it kicks the air down so that way the temp can come down in here. So the automations are working great. The IR control for the mini split is working fabulously. I love having a presence sensor. I still need to add a physical backup button for the lights just in case there's some kind of issue with Home Assistant or the automation. But yeah, the smart gym is slowly getting smarter. So eventually you guys will see more videos in the smart gym. I have a couple videos that I'm looking at right now for things that I will be doing soon. There's also stuff behind the camera that isn't actually for this room, but I also have videos coming on. So if you guys want to see a bunch more tech, smart stuff, and my crazy adventures into insanity, like and subscribe because, yeah, you'll probably be seeing this space a little bit more. Don't worry, not becoming a fitness YouTuber, but I do like to work out. I've kind of fallen out of it a bit while I've been building the gym and busy with work and all that, but the last couple of weeks I've been in here working out consistently. I did just have a little bit of a health issue, so I lost a couple of days worth of progress, but that's fine. I'm gonna pick right back up, and I've been really happy. I've been enjoying the space. Eventually, like I said, I'll do a video on how everything is kind of tied in here and all the different stuff I have. This is a tech channel, but I think you should do the best you can to take care of your body. So I like smart stuff, so I'm making my gym smart because it makes it more fun to be in. You know, it's really nice. I have my cardio bike over here and it's right in front of the TV, so when I hop on, all I gotta do is turn the TV on, the speakers automatically kick over to the TV, I can queue up a YouTube playlist and just, you know, ride out. I love it. There's some more ideas I have as well. I need to get an AP in here. I have an AP in here right now, but it's not actually for this room. It's supposed to go in the back of my house. But I'm just gonna buy a cheap Facebook Marketplace AP for Unify to put in here. The wireless signal out here isn't quite as stable as I'd like, so I'm actually using Ethernet for a few devices, using a wireless bridge, but there's a video on that coming soon too. So I am Dylan, the Techno-Giz guy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps a lot. I will see you ladybots and general droids in the next video, but until that time, keep it peaceful.